Well,
No.
hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. Guess what? It's our 50th episode. Say congratulations in the chat rooms, and you could win a trip for two to absolutely nowhere. Just kidding. Thank you, but welcome to the show today. Hey, how you doing, Ed? How you doing, Ed? Okay, that's enough out of you. This is our new guest, Steve Gormley. Steve is on fire. He's taking over.
I got a sore. Now I got a really. I had a sore shoulder.
After all that sake last night and all that wine, you still are susceptible to pain.
Just easy, soft.
Okay, should we put some little padding here?
Sure. Put
Ed, wake up. Anyway, so yeah, welcome to our show. We're going to have, theoretically, we're going to have a visit from el former presidente de Mexico, Senor Vicente Fox. Not written in stone, little dicey on the timing. He's in demand in the city, so maybe that might be, we don't know. Anyways, but Steve Gormley here has a business called International Cannabrands, which you might remember was featured on one of our podcasts back in February, January? Anyways, I can't remember the guy's name we talked to, but he...
Jeff Pritz, the former CEO, current chairman of the board.
Former chairman of the...
Current chairman of the board, former CEO.
Those guys are great.
Now you're the new CEO.
I am the new CEO, newly minted. We dropped the announcement July 23rd.
Right.
My acting COO, Neil Pomeroy, joined the company as well, and we are in full turnaround mode.
Are you going to lose the crazy symbol, JUJU.A? I was always saying to the guys, that's why nobody can find this stock and why it doesn't trade. Nobody knows how to pull up .A stocks.
That I've had, if I had a dime for every time that issue has been presented, I'd be a wealthy man.
Yeah, the JUJU, I think, is a great symbol.
JUJU is very sticky.
JUJU, I like it.
Obviously,
good juju.
Yeah, the .A is obviously connotes the preferred shares. So we're presently under advisement addressing that issue now.
Cool. So tell me about the business.
Are these common shares? Are they common? They're common shares, right?
When you have a .A, it means you have common and preferred.
Right.
So the .A connotes the preferred structure.
Okay. Okay.
So
I get it.
That's where you get the .A.
All right. All right. Well, we could talk about that later.
Yeah.
Sure.
So tell us about, so last I recall, JUJU had a relationship with Julian Marley, which
Correct.
is where the JUJU came from.
That's correct.
And there was some other bits and pieces in there, and I thought, this sounds promising, but there was something...
Sure.
It just didn't smell right. It didn't seem to have all the moving pieces that it needed. So tell me what's changed. What are you going to change?
So the mandate presently, which is now board approved as of August 18th, is to focus on an accretive acquisition strategy of profitable off-market emerging brands in cannabis. I liken it to a regional beer model, right? Where you come in and you start to roll up these household brands. And right now we're presently focused on acquisitions south of the border in the US, though we are actively and aggressively looking for a Canadian asset that will be synergistic with the platform we're creating. So today, we were happy to announce the acquisition of a company called Riotous, which provides financing services to...
Where are they based out of?
Washington State, Seattle.
Okay.
And they're engaged in an agreement with Solstice, which is the fourth largest cultivator and manufacturer in the Washington market, based out of Seattle. And Riotous provides financial services and financing services for licensed and lawfully operating cultivators and manufacturers. So we're excited about that transaction. Our strategy, as I mentioned, is to really roll up these brands, but what will distinguish International Cannabrands in the market is that we'll be profitable. We signed an LOI with a company called La Vida Verde. We anticipate being able to close the definitive agreement soon, and we'll be able to finance, we intend on financing the full acquisition of a 51% stake in La Vida Verde, which is a suite of very popular brands.
And where does that take place?
Northern California. That company is based out of Northern California.
Right.
The principals in that business are seasoned and well-respected cannabis entrepreneurs.
So business in the U.S. regarding cannabis is confined to the state they're in. Is that correct?
Yes.
You can't.
No cross-border commerce.
Okay, that's okay. So, but you're going to be in Washington and you're going to be in California. Those are your two first jurisdictions.
Yeah, the states is still largely run under the Cole Memorandum. Deputy Attorney James Cole, who was Deputy Attorney under Eric Holder during the Obama administration, issued a proclamation in August of 2013 to the states, saying that the federal government would step back and leave businesses that had been, were lawfully operating in states where the electorate or the legislature had spoken, as long as the business did not violate two basic principles. One was the federal government does not want any cannabis products being sold or distributed to children, minors, in any form. And as you can imagine, that's a real hardship for people who have children that suffer from debilitating pediatric seizure disorders, epilepsy. You've heard of Charlotte's Web.
Absolutely.
So this is a big problem. It's created a big refugee, medical refugee market.
Probably wasn't their intent, but...
Wasn't their intent, but
there's some screwy rules over...
Absolutely.
Screwy rules everywhere.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying, look, at the end of the day, if you can take something that's going to alleviate pain you can't even imagine.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then you've got all these different brands coming together.
And then, of course, just to finish the point, of course, the other tenet of the Cole Memorandum was no interstate commerce. So that leaves you having to silo businesses in market. So you can't franchise. The only thing you can do is cross the state border with packaging, but if you're going to put a cannabis product in packaging that's leveraged in, say, California, and you want to do the same in Washington State or Nevada, you have to actually manufacture and fulfill in the state. So you can't cross the border with cannabis products. You can only cross the border with packaging.
So when you identify a business that's profitable that you want to absorb, how do you're going to raise the money at that point for each?
It comes down, the first thing that we're really looking at are the management teams, right? So when you look
You want to keep the management teams, generally speaking, is that?
If they're profitable.
Yeah, obviously, then they've done something right.
Well, and there's not that many of them. And part of the challenge we've faced north of the border here in Canada in trying to find an asset for our portfolio is identifying a profitable Canadian cannabis company. They don't grow on trees.
That's a punchline around here.
Right?
Yesterday we saw Tilray come out with a big increase in revenue, but a bigger increase in losses.
Yes.
And the stock jumped like a
jackrabbit.
Yeah.
I was going to say like a big frog.
Yeah.
Kangaroo.
Have pogo stick, will jump.
Right.
But,
Anyway, up at one point $10 from yesterday. Anyway,
so you've got 80 million plus shares outstanding right now, and you're trading at a dime, which sounds like a great acquisition level.
10-bagger on the horizon.
I was going to say
10-bagger on the horizon.
You know what? Right? It's too bad we weren't doing our old show, the 10-baggers.
Well, because
we could segue right in.
We're the cannabis 10-bagger, or that's our intent.
CAB.
Yeah,
no, CT. So I got that wrong. Sorry. CTB.
CTB.
So at least I can see from the volume. We're looking at the chart here. If we could put the chart.
Can I just say? I just looked at that chart. It's got something right there at the end there where it looks like it's sort of leaving. It looks.
There we go.
Yeah, I like. You know what I like on this thing? I'll show you right here.
Please.
I like this action right here, this big volume day.
Yep.
This sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. You got this nice green candle. You got a little extension here. So, but back and fill. But if it can get going here and then penetrate that high, which is...
That's our intention, Ed.
There you go.
And we have a pipeline of acquisitions.
It looks, you can see that this bottom, it looks like it's, a saucer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's your cup?
Look,
here's my saucer.
Look, the reality is the Canadian market right now is driven by extreme exuberance. over fundamentals.
Right.
That's generous.
Right.
And
I would say lunacy.
well,
And when did you've been here before, but
I'm
only
American. Our definition of lunacy is
depends on,
it's a whole
depends on
other threshold.
what political party, right?
Well, we're not going there.
The lunatics are always on
Well,
the other side.
that's actually an important conversation south of the border, because we feel that Canada has been, look, the reality is Bay Street is the Wall Street of the cannabis business. And the Canadians just bushwhacked us and took over. And there'll be Canadian hegemony in the financial markets around cannabis for some time to come. Because
That's a very astute statement.
Because even if the United States in the next administration, whether that be another Republican, whether that be Trump, or whether that be a Democrat, the left wing, the libertarian wing of the Republican Party all want cannabis prohibition repealed. It's been a failure to the U.S. taxpayer, the war on marijuana. We've spent billions incarcerating non-trafficking related offenders, and they're mostly young men of color. So it's a really it's a thorny issue all the way around.
Prison thing is insane because it's not crimes. It's crime. Like if it's a crime, it's a crime against yourself, right? Drug use,
right?
And again, I'm not.
That's a Canadian point of view that I share.
Yeah.
That really doesn't gain much traction south of the border. So what I see in Canada, and the reason I'm up here, and the reason why you're going to see a lot of.
So are you going to live up here for a while, or?
I'm here all the time.
Okay, and out of Calgary, or?
We're headquartered out of Calgary. We have offices in New York, Denver, and Los Angeles, but I'm up in Toronto every other week.
Okay.
This is where all the action is in the cannabis industry.
Yeah, for sure.
If you, whether you're American or European or Canadian, or even a lot of the South American ventures that are gaining traction and popularity now, they all come up to Canada for financial services, capital, and financial advice, because this is the only mature market in the financial institutions surrounding cannabis. And even if we repeal federal prohibition in the United States, it's still going to take half a decade to work out what the financial institutions are going to do. And by that point, people acquiring companies, majors like Seagram's and companies of Diageo, they're going to look to their brethren north of the border who have been doing this for a number of years, who have 7, 8, 9-figure transactions under their belt. They're not just going to kick it to a Wall Street firm, you know, where the only qualification these guys have is that they did some research in college, if you know what I mean. Right. So Canada will, for the unforeseeable future, be the Wall Street of cannabis, and that's why we're here.
Okay, so getting back to your company, you've got this this strategy to acquire companies, and as you say, it's very tough to find a company that's profitable. In fact, one might argue even impossible. So, how are you going to, you know, sort of address that sort of disconnect between what you want to do and what you can do?
That's a great question. To tell you the truth, there are some phenomenal companies out there, largely California-based, that have earnings and profits and are real strong businesses. You have to understand that anyone worth their salt in this market in the U.S. got their start in the black market. That's a very particular personality type. And in order to survive the black market, to then thrive and now go the next step to legitimize, you have to have good standard business practices. So there really are companies in the space with solid fundamentals and auditable financials. It's just knowing who they are and actually targeting the best of breed, which are largely off market. That's the way to go. And that's where my 7 years in the cannabis industry, being boots on the ground in the US, learning cultivation, learning dispensary operations, learning both public and private structures in the space has served me and will ultimately serve international Cannabrands. I brought a world-class team on with me to help effectuate our business plan, and we have a synergistic accretive acquisition pipeline that I think the market will respond really well to. I think what you're going to see from us over the coming weeks and months are very transparent press announcements based on fundamentals. We're not going to be releasing hype. And that's what's going to distinguish us. We are an aggregator, and we are an aggregator of profitable businesses and world-class assets that have brand recognition. And that's going to be the distinction that ICL, International Cannabrands, brings to the market, as opposed to, you know, some of the usual suspects you mentioned earlier.
Right. Great. Okay. So you recently closed a financing?
Yes.
And so is that going to add, is that reflected in the share count at 80 million? It is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And
all right.
How much did you raise?
We did a small bridge round, 600,000 Canadian.
Right. Okay.
We also...
At what price?
That was, it varied depending on the group that came in and the timing of the group. All of it is, I encourage your viewers to check out our listings and check out
press releases.
all of our press releases.
Yeah,
Everything
filings.
is in there in the filings. But we also effectuated, we have a credit facility for up to 10 million Canadian that we can draw down against. We would only do that to apply to acquisitions, but we've had tremendous traction and interest here on Bay Street, as well as in Calgary and Vancouver, and I'm confident that in the next coming weeks we will raise the capital to close the Vida Verde transaction that has become kind of a centerpiece to what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. So are you going to stick to growers and product manufacturers in the cannabis space? You've got this other company that's more into the leasing side of it?
Correct.
So is that,
that tuck-in and that strategy is to bring into the portfolio companies that throw off cash.
Right.
We want earnings. We want profits. We want to be able to announce and share with the market our monthly, weekly, quarterly earnings in certain circumstances. We want the market to see that International Cannabrands is a company that's driven by fundamentals, not by exuberance or hype. And so brands obviously eat cash, and the brands we're targeting are actually profitable. And we want micro brands that have strong regional recognition in the markets they serve, that have the potential when the time comes to be franchisable brands. And so when you look at the suite of product brands within the Vida Verde family, you'll observe that there are brands that are not only recognized and supported within California, but that have great brand recognition and name recognition across state borders, and even up here in Canada. And so that's really the profile we're looking for. And as I said from the outset, you've got to think the regional beer model. That's really what we're looking to achieve here. The way regional beers were rolled up, we want to do the same thing. We want smart brands that have a strong, dedicated, loyal consumer base in the markets that they serve, that serve as indicators, as harbingers of what would be a great national or international level brand.
Okay.
So that when that time comes, we're perfectly positioned.
So is the Julian Marley transaction still alive?
Yes. So one of the things I'm happy to report is that we're going through a rebrand there. We have recently released that we are entering the market with new packaging. Our focus is going to be to deliver very high quality cannabis products at a very low cost to millennials. That brand really speaks to millennial males. Now, naturally, we want to capture everybody, but when you are a brand in cannabis, you really have to stick to your knitting if you want to grow and scale. And our intention is to come out of the gate with very sexy, sleek, millennial-friendly packaging that is really going to knock the socks off the consumer, and to provide them with high-quality cannabis products at a price point that they can't achieve anywhere else.
Right.
And that's really where the JUJU Royal brand is going to reside.
Okay.
It's going to be a luxury brand for millennials at an affordable price.
Interesting. Sounds like you've really got your sort of act together there. Like, I mean, you're saying all the things that.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you do what you say you're going to do,
listen,
it should be a winner, right? Because you're eloquent, you speak well, you articulate well.
Thank you, sir.
You know, you do, and you know, you've seen a lot of guys come in and go.
Look, I'm on the Midas Letter talking to Ed and James. I mean,
Yeah.
it's clear I've arrived.
There you go.
So,
you know what?
I mean,
There
what
you go.
more is there to say?
Already a success.
You know what?
That's right.
I've got the envelope. I'm passing it underneath. James,
And I have your samples
feel
for
free
later.
to put something in that envelope.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, my contribution.
Maybe some reefer or something.
Okay, well, tell you what, Stephen, that's been a great introduction. We're going to be very interested to follow.
And I think you and I are going to join Donnie a little later and maybe have a libation or
enough
two.
about your social life.
Yes.
This is a G-rated platform. Anyways, a little earlier we had the Follow the Money Investor Group guys were here, and they did an interview with the CEO of EEVVF, and we're going to rerun that. Just because A, we don't have anything else to do, and B, we're thinking that maybe our viewers didn't get to see it, and we thought it was so good that we wanted to share it with you. So here it is.
Well,
it's very exciting.
It is, you know, it's a little bit far away from your facility. You said your facility was a couple of hours away from you.
Yeah, so we're in just outside of Strathroy, which is about halfway between Sarnia and London.
Yep.
A couple hours away from Toronto.
Yeah, just a few. Well, thank you for the drive to come down. So we're here to talk about EEVVF Co. and all the things that you've been doing, and it's interesting because I believe you were saying earlier that you were the 34th license in Canada. That's quite early now. We're at like 115 or whatever it is. It keeps going. So you've been in the business a little while. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how everything's going?
Sure. So we were one of their first applicants, and we were lucky enough to get in 2016. We got our cultivation license, so license number 34. At the time we had 120,000 square feet, so at the time we were actually one of the largest, but of course everyone keeps expanding, including us. So since then we've added another 100,000 square feet, so we're sitting at around 220, and we started our second expansion. And we're going to get to that 1 million square feet. The building should be up by the end of the year and hopefully running in spring of next year.
That's fantastic, because you hear about all these things. We're going to have 1 million square feet. We're going to have 3 million, but then you want to actually find the companies who are actually doing that. And it sounds like you said, spring of next year, you'll be there.
Yep. And then I come from the greenhouse industry. My family's all in greenhouses, so you know, we know what we're doing when we expand. Yeah. So I mean, I think that we've shown so far that we can get a very cost-effective greenhouse up and running and still meet all the requirements for the ACMPR, and really keep our projects on time. And so I think it's very exciting for sure. But I think that as far as time, we should be up and running by spring of next year.
That's fantastic, and right in time, right in time, especially with Ontario. It's not going to be until, what was it, April? I think April 17th or something like that. So you'll be coming online just as that's starting to really ramp up. But you already have 200,000 square feet going, so I'm sure you have a little bit of product ahead of time.
It is, and it's. Our team at home is working like mad. We're doing we're expanding all the time as far as our different strains and getting more planted, and they've been harvesting all this week. So there's so much to do, which is why, you know, we're hiring like mad to try to keep up with everything. So. More people.
It's a crazy race.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's a huge race. I always say we're going about 100 miles an hour.
Yep.
So, but that's the same. Not only us, but the regulators, the distributors, everyone. This is such a fast, fun industry.
Absolutely, and to go on the word team there's something unique about your company, and something that when you look at a lot of the cannabis companies out there, there are a lot of men in the power roles.
Yes.
And the entire sector wide. You have a very, very dominant women-based company, and you are thriving. That's got to be like one thing just to be able to be the 34th LP, to have everything going, but to also show, there's a strong women presence, and you're doing a fantastic job as of so far. How many people on your team are women?
I would say it is probably just by chance. It's over 50%, but it happened to be that the heads of departments are pretty much all women, except for maintenance. And then like our head of quality assurance, our provincial liaison, quality assurance, head of production even. We have people helping in, our master grower is male, but we have a lot of team leaders that are women, so we are very strong. But I think just because we've given them the chance, I really believe that in our team that we kind of promote within. We give them that opportunity to really, shine, and we give them support. So that's why, if they have that opportunity, that they can really move forward. So, I think that we have a really great team, and it is heavy, heavy and female led.
No, and I love to hear it, and just in general, the success that it sounds like you've been making over the last little while, and since 2016, or probably before that actually, because you had a license since 2016. But when it comes to different markets and different things, in a nutshell, are you going more into oils, more into the flower? Are you abroad?
So we have partners out of Colorado, and we do believe everything that's kind of happened in the States, because they're about 5 years ahead of us, that we'll see those trends up here. So, they started off with dried flower as well, and then really moved into oil and extracts, and of course we're going to see that here as well. So right now, of course, just dried flower, but we're really excited when Health Canada finally allows us those extra, like the edibles, and we're really excited about what we can do with the product line, so that we can really focus on women and their needs, even as far as there's so many female concentrated products in the States that we'd really like to bring up here, kind of what we call under the circle of Eve, where they have product for female sanitary, sensual products. They have beauty creams and cosmetics. There's so many different aspects. So we're very, very excited about that. So we're really looking forward when we finally get into those other products once Health Canada allows us to.
Yeah, and it's exciting because what I didn't know just until a few months ago is that topical creams and makeups, all of that, a lot of them, to get omega-3s and fatty acids into these makeups, they're using fish oils. But when you're able to use things like CBD and hemp oil, you can actually get those fatty acids and omegas and have it completely vegan. And I know that's a huge point to a lot of people. They don't want animal products in their creams, whatever it be. So it's very interesting you say that, because I think it's going to be, like you said, a massive market that many people aren't thinking about. And you'll be going right after. It'll be women going after women, and you'll have all these different products to be able to display for them. So it's in Health Canada's court now, and they're going to allow all these things. Some creams are allowed, but there are other edibles and things like that, not yet. I don't know why, but...
Well, I think it's very understandable. Like, you hear some kind of negative stories happening where, a kid eats some chocolate that they weren't meant to, and people end up in the hospital because they're just overwhelmed. So I think that Health Canada's doing a good job on trying to get ahead of that and setting up the program properly. So, it would be nice, though, once it comes.
Well, it sounds like you've been positioning yourself very, very well to be ready for when that time does come. In legalization, October 17th, it's just a little while away. Are you more excited for legalization or for what you can do in 2019 with everything coming on?
Oh, definitely 2019. I think everyone is struggling to be ready on time. It's a race. Everyone is kind of so overwhelmed. The regulators, the distributors, there's so much to do. So I think all we can do at this point is just do the best that we can. But the plans that we have for the future, I think that's the exciting part.
I can't wait to find these companies. I've been tracking a lot of companies over the last 4 or 5 years, especially in cannabis. And I can't wait to see, I would have the same answer myself. 2018 will be great. There's a very large, significant moment of legalization, but really it's 2019 where you're going to say, okay, which companies have positioned themselves correctly, who are actually able to grow their facilities and be able to grow cannabis and have it not all go bad or whatever it be. But 2019 is going to be very, very exciting, and I can't wait to see what you have in store for that year.
Oh yeah. No, there'll be so much coming up, so it's very exciting, and there's new ideas coming up all the time, so we're very excited as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, thank you for driving all the way over here and being able to talk to ourselves on our show. Again, you are a publicly listed stock. It's under EVE, I believe?
Yeah, we're on the Venture Exchange under EVE.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it very much.
Yes,
and we'll be in talk soon. I can't wait to see what you have in store.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, that is amazing. Eve. A woman's cannabis company. I love it. I love it.
Maybe we should think of a man's cannabis company and call it Adam.
Oh, Ed.
Hey,
please.
Hey, you see the connection? I know.
Oh,
it's hard to see. You're thinking, where do I get this stuff? I think it's divine inspiration.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
How do you come up with this?
I don't know.
How do you do it?
Maybe I
like, are you divinely like interested? Oh! The sacred herb.
You know what?
The sacred herb is
the guy from Vancouver who's made a fortune in the comedy business, Seth
Rogen.
You know the character.
Seth Rogen is known to me.
And he says that they only use the herb for creativity. To enhance their creativity. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
I've been a lifelong consumer of cannabis for creative purposes. I was surprised there wasn't a category for this as they rolled out first for medical purposes and for recreational purposes.
Creativity.
For me, it was for creative purposes, yeah. So I used to, as a teenager growing up, I used to smoke a big fat one, and then I would pick up my guitar, and that's how I could actually spend my time.
Was that how you made it on the show Hullabaloo?
Hullabaloo.
Yeah, you remember that show? That was a beauty.
I have no idea what you're talking about there.
Shindig?
Shindig?
Yeah.
Well, I was at a shindig this weekend.
Clam bake?
Big shindig. No clam bake. No clam bake. It was the shindig for Canopy Growth. 3rd year in a row. Snoop Dogg performed.
We're seeing lots of good action today in the cannabis space.
Yeah, it's time to think about the cannabis space. Let's talk a little about cannabis.
Look at that. We got to talk about that Tilray. Holy jumping.
Tilray. That thing defies all reason.
Well, but it's still real.
Well, obviously it's real. It's on NASDAQ. Although, so here's the thing. They come out with their second quarter results.
Right. Which
they have a 200% increase in revenue. But they lost $12 million.
Lost $12 million on revenue of 9. So where would they start breaking even? Because obviously
does this not remind you of the .com era when it was like, oh well, no, don't make any money. As soon as you make money, you're going to be valued on your balance sheet, and then your stock's going to nothing. As long as you're a building, speculating, looking future forward.
Yeah, nobody knows how to value the thing.
Well, exactly.
But didn't you just tell me there are some very high-end, high net worth shareholders in Tilray that made a lot of money in another?
Yeah,
was it PayPal?
Got Peter Thiel from PayPal and
whoa,
and all the guys from Silicon Valley in that group are in the company that still controls 50% of Tilray, which is Privateer Holdings. So Privateer Holdings,
and there's a lot of stock. So the market cap has tripled. This stock has gone from $20 to $60 in about 2 to 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah. Well, do you want to pull up a chart?
Yeah, I do. I do want to pull up a chart.
Pull up a little chart on Tilray.
And you don't have to. You only have to do it for 3 months because we don't need a year because
you can't see anything.
There's nothing there.
Here we are looking at our chart.
Look at this Chronos.
Look at this Chronos. Oh, and the chart says.
Yeah, at $22. $20 the day it started trading. Had a rally.
Blew through 62 today.
And when you run up like that and you pull back and you don't get as low and you start to roll up, look at this thing. But I got to tell you, wow. I don't want to say anything because obviously I'm going to be wrong because this thing is look at this. Look at this move. Look at. Yeah. And then a little correct. And then if you're short this thing and you're thinking, okay, all the indicators say be short this thing at $40. Guess what? You're crying for mommy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, this is
what biggest volume today we've seen.
Yeah. This is what you call irrational exuberance.
And the markets can remain illogical longer than you can remain solvent.
Here, here.
There you go. There's a rule. So, but there's other. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at Kronos today and big
Yeah.
day.
Well, let's take a look at our near and dear
Index.
Let's not look at my bank account. How about that?
Yeah, well.
Okay. Let's go to Midas Letter. Oh, we got the Tilray chart up there. We want to get to cannabis and the composite index. What do we got happening here today? Look at that. It's a banner green day again. So that was like 1 day of minor correction.
And we talked about that, like when the momentum is so powerful, and you have a down day, like a lot of people feel, hey, I'm not waiting any longer. I'm getting in, and we saw that. Look at this.
Afria's up 12 points again today.
Afria's flying today.
Aurora's up 5.2%.
Kronos
today.
and Fria are up about 11.7%.
Canopy's up 6% today. Like, so it's like, okay, everybody take a coffee break. Take your exuberance off the table. Okay, put it back on and get back in the game because we're taking this thing higher. Like, oh, Canopy's flirting with $60 again here today. What the hell is going on here, Ed? I ask you.
Well,
look at that chart.
Yeah, and I noticed today for the first time, our friends in California, well, High Hampton, I think it's 60 cents bid, which is, I think, significant because that was the price of the last financing. The last financing.
Well, you know what company we got to talk about today is Khiron.
Why did I know you were going to say Khiron?
Well, because there's.
In fact, we don't even have to talk. We should just do this telepathically.
But then nobody else would know what the hell.
Well, that's true.
It would just be you talking to me in my head, and it'd be a bunch of facial expressions. It would be like watching Marcel Marceau talk to himself in the mirror. Like, what fun would that be?
Yeah.
But no, the reason we want to talk about Khiron today is because former President Vicente Fox, is in the city today because he's joined the board of Khiron, and he's going to be in charge of their Mexico strategy. So now that's a big deal.
Wow, up 11 cents today to $1.03 to $1.04.
We've got Dr. Maria Arboleda is here. Desde Colombia?
Sí.
Ah, bienvenidos, por favor.
Hello. I wish I could speak Spanish, but I can't.
Yes. You want to practice your Spanish today?
Yes. Ed, why don't you come over here?
Nice to meet
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
You're going to sit here.
No, yeah, we're going to put you on that side.
I'm going to go over here.
Yes, please,
and,
por favor.
I don't trust you with my new computer, so I'm taking it with me. No offense.
Ed is.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice
all the
to
way
meet you
from
too.
Colombia. Are you from Bogota?
From Cali.
Cali.
Best city in the world.
Ooh, the salsa capital of the world.
Yeah, everybody that goes to Colombia says it's just wonderful.
I got my salsa chops down.
Have you been to Cali?
I've never been to Cali, but I've been to Bogota many times.
No, you're missing the best part.
Well, are you inviting me to come to dance with you in Cali?
Cali, Colombia is your place to come.
Okay.
December is the time to come to Cali.
Awesome.
Okay.
We have the international salsa, let's say, championship or whatever.
Are you a big salsa dancer?
Totally. From the 25th to the 30th of December.
Oh, okay. Well, that's brilliant. That's a good reason to avoid my family at Christmas.
That's true.
They know I'm kidding, right, Mom? Right, brother? Anyways, so you're Dr. Maria Arboleda. You're the medical director of Khiron.
Right.
And so tell me about your role. What is your role going to be?
I can tell you a little bit about my background, and then I can explain what my role is.
Perfect.
Yes. So I'm proud Colombian, as you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did med school in Colombia. Then I moved to Mexico City. I was there for around 6 years.
Okay. Do you have a specialty in medicine?
I'm an anesthesiologist, and I'm a pain and palliative care physician.
Oh, so that's the connection with.
So then I came to Canada, to Montreal. I was at McGill University. I came to do a fellowship.
Yeah, your English is unbelievable.
Oh, no, thank you. No, I
better than Ed's.
We can speak in French
way
if you
better
want
than
to.
yours.
French.
Way better than yours. Okay.
Anyways, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, so I was at McGill for 2 years and a little bit more.
Yes.
And that's where I got involved in all this medical cannabis research. I've been also working with this clinic in Montreal that is called Santé Cannabis, which is one of the leading cannabis, specialized cannabis clinics in Canada. And that's how I got basically involved in all these, not only medical cannabis program where we see patients for different medical conditions, but also research. Research like clinical trials with patients. For my line of research has been always towards advanced cancer patients because of the palliative care background and chronic pain patients. So that's how I met Khiron when I was up in Montreal. And that's how I came. I started first as a medical advisor and then now as a medical director. So coming to your question regarding what is the role of the medical director in Khiron, it's basically, I would say, I would divide it in 3 parts. First part is more regarding the training of my colleagues, training of doctors down in Latin America. As you can see, Khiron is a leading company right now, not only in Colombia, but in Latin America, from Mexico down to Chile, Argentina, etc. So we are committed to the training of doctors. We're the only company right now that has the endorsement of 4 medical associations in Colombia. We have the endorsement and support of the Colombian Association of Neurology, Colombian Association of Internal Medicine. We're working towards the Colombian Association of Pain and Palliative Care. So basically that's very important for us as doctors to receive some support from the medical associations, where we go to medical conferences and we start the training of doctors. Because, you know, in Khiron we're working from the seat to the patient, right? And we're not only happy to have a good quality product, but we also need to train doctors. If you have a good quality product and doctors don't know how to prescribe, so that's important, and that's why we're working on this training of doctors. Second part is the clinics, where we are developing clinics, specialized cannabis clinics, from the experience that we have from the Canadian model and the Canadian experience, obviously adapting this to the Colombian reality, Latin American cultural beliefs.
And you have formal relationships with the 2 main medical associations in Colombia. There's been an announcement to that effect, right?
Yeah, she was just saying that they have 4 endorsements from the 4 medical associations in Colombia.
Right.
And
the third part that I was saying, so the training, second part will be the clinics, and the third part will be the research, because we need to develop research with local patients and with local products in Colombia, right? I mean, you know that Canada, Israel are leading countries when we talk about research, and all this development of research. Canada and Israel are leading that. But in Colombia, we have INVIMA, which is kind of the Health Canada entity. It's obviously asking for local data from patients from Colombia with medical conditions in Colombia. So we're starting also this research development with our own patients in our own clinics, and also with prestigious universities in Colombia to develop research with all of these different medical conditions, epilepsy, chronic pain, dermatological conditions,
What has been your experience thus far with using cannabinoids to treat palliatively cancer patients with advanced cancer states?
Okay, that's a great question. As I was saying, I was in Montreal. At this clinic, we've seen more than 5,000 patients, so there's many different medical conditions. Of course, cancer, advanced cancer, and palliative care is my I would say strength in that way. When we use medical cannabis for palliative care patients, what we're trying to do is important to understand that cannabis is not the miracle drug. Cannabis is an option, is a complement, or is an adjunct to what the patient is receiving, right? So if a patient has a terminal or advanced cancer or any palliative care condition, what we're trying to do is helping the quality of life of those patients through symptom management. For instance, if a patient has cancer and they have insomnia, they're not sleeping well, they have pain, they have anxiety, they have lack of appetite, nausea and vomiting associated to chemotherapy, etc. What we're looking for is to treat those symptoms, to help them with those symptoms. So that's what we're using cannabis for. We're not pretending that we're going to replace everything else, that cannabis is going to be the solution for all the problems a patient has, but at least is a complementary treatment that we can consider. And that's part of what we need to do in terms of training and educating our doctors and educating our patients, because if we don't educate patients, well, that's also an issue, right? We need to mitigate some expectations. There are patients coming to the office saying, oh, I'm here because I want to get cured. And unfortunately, we don't have that evidence yet to say that cannabis can cure patients with cancer.
Yeah, but it helps with pain, obviously.
It helps with the symptoms.
And people that sometimes can't eat,
exactly.
they can eat.
Exactly.
I mean, it does do some things that...
No, that's what I mean, exactly. It improves
yeah.
the quality of life of those patients.
Absolutely.
They're having more appetite, they're having less anxiety, they're sleeping better, less pain, etc., etc. So if you're a patient dealing with all these symptoms, of course, cannabis could be an option.
Sure. How many patients in Colombia do you think there are who are candidates to either participate in the research or to otherwise use cannabis for whatever medical condition?
So far we know, like in Latin America, let's say broad, we say that we have around 620 million people that could benefit from medical cannabis, and specifically in Colombia, we're talking about 48 million people that could benefit from medical cannabis. Again, medical cannabis is not for everyone.
Right.
There are specific indications and contraindications.
So basically, when you say 620 million people, are you talking South America?
No, in Latin America, you're
Latin
going
America.
from Mexico to Argentina.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So,
So Central America plus South America.
plus Mexico, which is in North America.
Mexico, right.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have all these possibilities. Obviously, Mexico is a huge market.
Sure.
As I was telling you, I lived in Mexico for around 6 years, and I know also how it works, how the system works there, and I know obviously how the system works in Colombia. Even though we're in Latin America, we're different. So you know, we need to adapt all this Canadian model to Latin America, also adapting it to the cultural beliefs and adapting these to the needs of patients in Latin America.
Right. Okay, well that's great, Maria. Let's, we're going to leave it there for now and come back to you when you next visit Canada. We're going to come and see you down in Latin America. Right now we're going to throw to this site visit video we did with Khiron in Colombia back in February of this year. In case you haven't seen it, check it out, and we'll be right back.
The way that I view the Colombian market is it's really like kind of rewinding 5 years ago where we were in Canada at that point. An emerging opportunity that is, very much been untapped. 620 million people living in Latin America, 60 million of those people potentially candidates for treatment of conditions with medical cannabis. That's twice the population of Canada. As one of the first licensees, one of the first to receive quota, we're really tip of the spear.
So we're planning all the operations, we're planning all the financing, we are planning on the symposium for tomorrow to start telling all the doctors, all the patients that Khiron is coming.
This is the first symposium on medical cannabis in Colombia. To present them with the justification from a physiologic, from a medical, from a safety, from an efficacy perspective as to why cannabis-based medicines may be a viable option for some of their patients.
So my role as Chief Compliance Officer here is to bring the same level of compliance that DEA mandates to the pharmaceutical industry. I was previously the Chief of Pharmaceutical Investigations for DEA. I was a special agent with the DEA for 26 years. So to take that level of compliance and apply it here brings instant credibility and legitimacy to this industry.
So at this point in time, it seems Colombia is now in the lead in many respects, especially medically. Is that one of the opportunities that you are seeking to capture for Colombia?
Yes, one of the themes that we wanted to develop in Colombia is scientific research. And that scientific research has to be done with the doctors. The doctors that are going to recommend or prescribe cannabis for their patients, in order for them to be confident, to know that there is scientific evidence and support. That's why we prohibited in the law the exportation of the flower. We wanted the flower to be transformed here in Colombia.
The entire area is 45,000 square meters. That will include, the lab area, the extraction, What we've secured with the landowners is an option to lease another 16 hectares. That's 1.6 million square feet. And as you can see, there's plenty of sun here.
Yeah.
And we actually have 12 hours, exact 12 hours every day. We're also connected to an underground well, which is 12 liters per second, which is enough to have the entire 20 hectares, underground water. And we don't have to pay any public utility.
We are establishing the hydroponic cultivation method for climate control. We are using mist and shade and fans and extraction for hot air. We are running more than 60 times the whole volume for the greenhouse per hour.
Yielding 8.6 tons of dry flower per year.
In this greenhouse.
When you look at the capital and the operating costs in comparison to really any other jurisdiction in the world, it's very compelling. Cost per gram on the flower at scale of 10 cents, 35 cents per gram equivalent on the extract.
So I mean, we've left nothing to chance. I know it looks different because it's outside, it's not that controlled, but you can grow this plant in very good conditions and still keep a very good quality control. It looks big.
Back and look at our large caps here.
They had an unbelievable day. I think, is it 4 o'clock now? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, good. So we can take a look at, and I'm going to do that too.
Okay, now look at this. Now the CSE has returned 18 times capital. The large cap is still 9, but the small cap index is up to 10 times capital returned over the last 2 years, or 3 years rather. So that's interesting. Let's see what about the small caps is moving today. Look at that. Supreme Cannabis up 23%.
23.
Yeah, we're looking at there we go. We're looking at, there's the chart for Supreme. Look at that. 23.9% increase today, 6.8% rise in Terracin. Even Namaste's up 3.3%. We had the Follow the Money guys had them on the show today. Look at New Strike up 5%. Let's reorder this by
percentages.
Yeah. So Fire is the biggest small cap.
Okay. Can you? Yeah. Okay. There you go. There you go. Okay.
Actually, I think it will now be returning to the large cap index, Ed.
Back and forth.
Yeah, back and forth.
Wow.
It's flirting with new highs. But look at that. Let's see which ones are actually losing today. Benchmark Botanics, Cannabis Technologies is the breathalyzer technology. Golden Leaf Holdings is off, despite our guest yesterday, and InMed Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, small, but I mean, if you're not participating in this.
Yeah, what's that say?
Well, here's one, no change. I can't even pronounce it. Isodial. How do you pronounce it?
Isodial.
Isodial.
Yeah.
Unchanged. Well, that's because it isn't trading.
That's right. They got ceased traded.
Wow.
That's unfortunate, eh?
Yeah, look at this. Yeah, well, you know what? This all started with a $5 billion investment by Constellation Brands.
Yeah.
It looks like it's picking up steam. You know that we had that negative day, but the momentum's so powerful. People they just want to get in there and buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Canada Royalty not really participating in the mania today. But let's go see what's trading on the CSE, shall we? So the CSE index is up 4.41%. Boy, it's just nonstop. It's like the U.S. just woke up to the fact that there's a cannabis market underway in Canada. you know? Like, hey, guess what? Trading
see the
over here.
JUJA, which was down at 60 cents, is now 83.
Yeah, but looking on the CSE stocks here, There's this Inner Spirit Holdings, ordinary shares. That's a new one. You ever heard of them?
No.
Planet 13 continues its meteoric rise, up another 21% today.
Wow.
Yeah. And International Cannabrands, up 2 cents today. We just spoke to Steve Gormley, who's the new CEO. He sure sounds like he's got his.
He seems
his
like a
ducks in a row.
very well-spoken guy. Lots of depth to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Ravens Quest Biomedical, 74 cents. Ianthus, 735, up 10% or 9% today. Now,
Wow.
I think these U.S. plays are going to start to really get ahead of steam. Look at even Green Thumb Industries, $14.67 a share.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier High Hampton.
These guys don't respond to invitations to come to our show, which kind of worries me.
Who's that?
Green Thumb Industries.
They don't, eh?
No.
Okay.
They seem to have issues of delusions of grandeur.
Look at this organogram, up 52 cents today, up back to 662. I think that's close to an all-time high.
But they had revenue, total assets, $230 million, which is interesting, including cash and cash equivalents of $112 million.
And that's Green Thumb?
Yeah.
Look at this, holy smokes. And they lost, how much did they actually lost on a cash flow basis. Where did I see it? Balance sheet.
EBITDA loss was $4.7 million for the second quarter, compared to $1.3 million of the second quarter of 2017.
So they're losing money faster.
That's right.
Wow.
Which only makes them more desirable.
Stock should go higher. Really?
So this is like,
just burn all your money.
Yeah.
And then the stock goes.
Wait, they're losing money, so let's invest in them. Boy, it's no wonder that this mania is so frustrating for companies running real businesses.
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this Tilray, up $11.12. I just wonder about tomorrow.
No, this is not sustainable. This is mania, and it is going to reverse, and
Put
it's
up
going to
the,
take a whole bunch of people with
the Tilray. What's the RSI on the Tilray? That's what I want to see.
Okay.
You know, just
we've already done Tilray rather extensively.
I know, but I just want to see what the RSI is.
Okay.
In fact, I used to be able to do it here on this, but for some reason, I can't.
Charts advanced.
Yes,
Susan.
I
US.
don't know. Why?
Okay, so Tilray, 3 month. Okay, there's your RSI, 84.31. Let's put the Bollinger Bands up.
Yeah, the Bollinger Bands are only going to kick in here. Put them in.
Whoa!
Yeah.
It's trading on the band, as you say, Eddie.
Well, and you know what? We the other day when it went through, I said this is a good time, but you only had a small opportunity. This thing is just flying, but you know something's going to happen here. Something's going to happen.
84. Now here we get to test. So if I was a betting man, if I was a technical trader that had nothing but absolute faith in my chosen craft, I would be shorting the crap out of this.
Probably very hard to borrow it because of the tight, so that you might have to buy a put.
Buy a put.
And you only could lose what you put up when you buy a put. You can't. Whereas if you're short and it keeps going up and up and up forever, which it never does, but the potential loss is unlimited theoretically. Only theoretically. It's not really true. Anyway. But look at this. This has gone crazy.
Yeah.
And what's the market cap now? 84.31. That's a warning sign right there. RSI of 84.31.
Let us check it out.
And what was the question I asked? What was the market cap? Market depth?
Well, let's just see here. If I go to the
fundamentals, is there something there for
portfolio manager? Tilray. If I go to the quote window, there we go. What the hell is my problem here? Shares, 91 million shares out, 62.69 a share gives it a market cap of, survey says, oh gosh.
5 billion.
Yeah.
5 billion. It's 5.5 billion.
4.91 billion.
Well, if it's 90, oh yeah, because that's a Canadian. No, that's a U.S. price.
4.91 billion. The market cap's right here.
Where?
Right there.
Yeah, but that's as of yesterday. Because even 6 times 9 is 54. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
whatever. The market cap is huge, Ed.
Market cap's huge.
And the stock is overbought. And this market
but
is overbought.
If the Americans want to really get involved, though, what are they going to buy? They're going to buy a NASDAQ company because they don't like to.
No, I don't think so. You couldn't play BlackBerry without buying a Canadian stock. So, you know, that whole mythology. I mean, there are people who only buy on their local exchanges, but that's like, you know, that's a very sort of provincial sort of way of thinking these days. You can buy on any market, you can trade anywhere in any currency.
Sure.
I would suggest that if I'm going to trade, I want to own a stock on the exchange in which its primary revenue is reported, because then I'll always be easily able to understand where my valuation metrics should be. When you've got to factor in things like currency conversion into every transaction, it becomes less certain, in my view, as to where you actually stand at any given point in the timeline. That's just me. I'm a simple guy, though. I abhor complexity. Lots of news out today.
You're a bore?
Abhor complexity. Lots of news out today, though, on almost everything. Like, let's see what's analyst actions. Oh, buy rating reiterated by. Okay. That's not actually news. Kronos Group forms Natu Era JV with Agroidea. Okay. Agroidea SAS. Colombia. Oh, okay. So Kronos is now in Colombia. Well, better late than never, I suppose. You know, it's interesting. I look at these companies, I see maybe 3 doing original things, and everybody else is following what they're doing. You know, it's like closeology in mining.
Right.
Anyways,
look at this Kronos up 13.76%.
Look at X-Rose up 2 cents today.
Wow. Kind of hard to get to.
TIG. Triumph Gold came out with a research report with no name on it.
A research report with no name on it.
Well, from some group called Consolidated Research, but there was no reference to any analysts, or there was nobody's name on it. It's like, okay, where'd you buy that? Out of Pinata? Oh man, the things people do. Golden is up. No, Golden's flat at 40 cents, down half a penny.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
but here's the one that took it on the chin today. Let's pull up.
SICK.
Yeah, SICK is genuine. Oh, what's going on here? That's not the chart I want. It's not the chart I want. Let's pull up a simple chart. What happened here? Company research chart. There we go. Look at that sell-off, Eddie.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now it's below the band.
Yeah. 18 to 19, or 21. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
High of 24 today.
What's the bid and ask here? So Suzanne did something to my computer here. Now I don't know how to operate it. It doesn't work.
You're blaming Suzanne.
No, I'm not blaming. I'm blaming me. I'm the one that doesn't understand all these
so
icons.
It's bid 18 and a half.
Yeah.
And
yeah, wow.
Offered at 19. 18 and a half, 19. You know what? That's a you know, it's interesting. So in the gnat-like attention span of the current investor mindset, the company comes out, issues the drill results, stating all the way that these results are not from the same area of the discovery hole, but we will drill our next program there. We had Tim Froud, the CEO, on there saying that. So what does it do? People hang on to the stock hoping that it just say it ain't so. Tell me it's not going to be like that. Yeah, of course, then they find out that it is, and they you know, they lock in their loss.
Then they exit en masse.
Yeah, and lock in the loss.
Lock it up. Lock it up.
That is herd mentality, amateur investor hour 101. So if you locked in your loss on Sokoman iron, that's all right. You'll be able to lock in another loss on Sokoman iron once it goes higher on the next drill program.
If it goes up, you can buy it back.
There you go.
Sell low, buy higher.
Ah, why aren't we doing that, Ed? What's wrong with us?
Yeah, well,
I mean, let's not get into that.
Anyway,
wow,
I'm going to really make an attempt to learn this learn how to do things on this computer.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the volume on XRO.
The good old XRO. What do you know, XRO? Oh, Guggenheim Sector Rotation ETF. I think that's the wrong symbol. I think I forgot to put in CNX. Whoa, one trade.
Market cap, what's the volume?
The volume was, where's the volume here? Change volume, 9,000 shares.
All right.
It's gone to sleep.
It's gone to sleep.
Why has it gone to sleep, Ed? Probably because there's been no news.
Probably because there's been no news, although it was a little bit of an uptick. But you know what? It's had a big move since the beginning of July.
Yeah.
And now it has to digest it, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So.
So next big move.
Well, you know, listen. There's got to be things happening. I mean, they just raised some money. I understand there's going to be some announcements as time goes on.
Okay. So it's a buy and holder. Well, so then let's see. So what do you make about this? What do you make about this mining market? I mean, or this cannabis market rather? How long? Where does it break? Where does it reverse?
Look, they only go so high, and then they have a correction to really shake people out. That's the way it always happens. But how high is high? I'm just glad I'm not short any of these things.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because they're moving. They're moving at a very, very maniacal pace.
Yeah.
You know, and you got an RSI of 84 on Tilray.
Yeah. All right, so let's see what our guests. So, what's our audience saying over here on?
Maybe we should also
YouTube.
When you get a minute, look at the most actives on the venture today.
Volume on Kronos was 69 million yesterday. 69 million.
Was that right?
Yeah.
69 million?
Yeah. Reefer Al says he's holding MedMen warrants. Modern Picasso says, I kept stressing to take profits on SICK. Well, Modern Picasso, SICK is not over yet. So personally, I bought another 100,000 shares at 22 cents today.
Really?
Yeah. And I will buy another 100,000 tomorrow at 18 if I can.
Right.
Justin Marshall. Hey, Justin, how's it going? I owe you a phone call. He's asking if anything new on the blockchain front. Hive is up a bit. Global blockchain still down. I hear it will change in the next few months and go up. Blockchain. You know what? Let's pull up. Here's a scintillating little visual that I enjoy staring at. Why, you might ask? Because I'm a glutton for punishment at coincap.io. So here is all of the here's all the top cryptocurrencies.
Right. I'm sorry. I can't get anything on it. This thing is frozen, and I know
we're looking at the top cryptocurrencies here in the control room. Hopefully, there we go. So look at Bitcoin, still sucking hind tit, as it were, Ed.
Really? Well, although, I mean, 7,000, it was up to 20. It really dropped off, and then it hit that high 5 level, under 6, and then bounces.
Yeah. But it looks like, I mean, if we pull up the chart, it looks to me like a dead cat bouncing. Come on, chart. Where is it? There we go.
Yeah.
Like, that's just...
It looks, though, it looks like it's trying to base out a bit. Like, you know, we have these violent drops, and then the rallies seem to...
Yeah. Ethereum's still down in the...
Sure. Well, they're all going to follow each other, I think.
Yeah.
I don't see one breaking out into a new high territory or starting a new upward trend. If one does, I think they all will.
But let's, that's a good idea. Let's take a look at Hive. And,
Yeah,
wow. Hive is up a little. Hive is not up. Hive is down a little,
Yeah,
Justin.
Hive is down 3%.
85 cents though. Look at that. Like that is, look at this. From way up here, from a high of $5.39, it's now 85 cents. Ouch. Ouch. Boy.
Yeah. Well, I quite frankly don't really understand this whole sector, but
the blockchain.
Yeah. You know,
well, nobody does that. It's okay. Nobody does.
They might as well call it blockhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Blockhead.
Blockhead.
Blocked.
So that reminds me, we haven't had any video from Justin in the last little while. I wonder why that is. Holy cow, look at all the people over here on Facebook trying to talk to us. What do we got here? There's you and me. You watching me, watching you, watching me. That one's getting kind of...
Yeah, some of this whipsaw action, I mean, yesterday they were down dramatically. Today they're up dramatically.
Yeah.
This powerful momentum here, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, there's 4 or 5 of them, you know, Weed, Tilray, ACB, APH. These things, they're wow, they're flying.
Yeah. So which is your favorite marijuana stock today, Ed?
My favorite?
Yeah.
I would like to say the one I own, but since I don't own it, no. I think that some of these secondary ones are looking for a suitor to come in and do what Constellation Brands. Those are the ones that are getting the real crazy action. EMH is up 20% today.
Yeah.
I think it's EMH.
You mean Emerald?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm... let's take a look at the chart of the Emerald. EMH.
EMH. Emerald Health. 465, back to a state of health.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look at this. Yeah, to me, that's clearly broken out. I think, look at this, up 58 cents, up 14%. And it rolled over. It rallied from, what, the $3 level or whatever? Big volume.
Yep.
Yeah, put up that CRON. The volume, was that right? The volume was 69 million?
Yesterday.
69 million.
Oops, wrong. Chronos. Look at that. Big chart.
No,
big chart.
no, the volume was 16 million.
Yeah. Well,
or
maybe not in the U.S.
Right, right.
Because this is the Toronto. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's go. CRON US. See, this is the thing. This is... Okay. There we go.
Wow.
Look at that.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this.
43 million on Tuesday.
Yeah. 3 days ago, it was over
40
80
million shares today. 67 million on Monday in the US. Here's the thing. Let's look at weed in Canada. Canopy growth in Canada. Volume, 13 million. Okay. How about in the US?
CGC in the US, yeah. There it is.
13 million in the US.
Right. Wow.
So that's interesting. Let's take a look at What else is trading in the U.S.? Well, let's look at Tilray. No, Tilray doesn't trade in Canada. But anyways, interesting times. Interesting times. These cannabis stocks are just going ballistic.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, so we're going to come back tomorrow and have a whole bunch of different guests on. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, I think